businesses have been struggling in Nakuru, especially small scale businesses. And there's always the question as to why there is no money circulation in Nakuru. So I want to discuss that today. And basically, I want us to understand why small businesses struggle in Nakuru. If you walk through the town, there are many businesses, thousands of them. There are many salons, kiosks, boda riders, market stalls, mama burgers, salons. There are many businesses, many small scale businesses. But the issue is most of them do not survive past 1 to 3 years. One. Two, most of them are not turning a profit on a regular basis. And one of the reasons why this happens is because of the way the economy in Nakuru County is structured. So to understand why there's low money circulation in Nakuru, we need to understand how the money moves in Nakuru. Okay? So most people there who are employed get money from the agricultural sector. Now this sector includes the fishing sector, dairy farming, and the flower farms. Of course, in general agriculture. Now, these sectors employ people informally. They basically employ a lot of casual laborers, and yes, they have a lot of some permanent staff, but they do have a lot of casual laborers. These laborers are paid around 10 to 20,000, but most of them are paid on the lower side. Okay, so they have no permanent contracts. They have monthly salaries, but they are low, and some of them are paid daily. Okay, there's also the seasonal issue. Sometimes when there is farming and planting and harvesting, a lot of people do have the casual jobs, but when it is off season, people struggle getting the jobs. So there's the seasonal aspect in the agricultural sector. Now, I'm going to explain how this all ties in finally. Then there's also the manufacturing industry. There are some manufacturing industries in Nakuru. There's also the aspect of the carry clearing area in Nakuru, but still they don't employ a lot of people, and especially on the high level income section of the employment. But other than that, there's a tourism sector, which is high earning because there are a lot of visitors who go to Lake Nakuru. There are a lot of game parks, there are a lot of hotels and resorts. And it is also seasonal, but it does have high returns. Other than that, there are some textile hubs in Nakuru which account for the manufacturing, and some other factories and processing plants there. The retail sector mostly has the wholesale businesses. I don't know why, but they do thrive in Nakuru. As you can remember, Tuskys and Naivasha also started in Nakuru. Anyhow, they do perform well in those areas. So, why is there low money circulation? The first factor is the low income. The low income, say someone is earning on the lower side 10,000 and they have a family of 4. So this 10,000 has to pay some of the big bills like the rent, the school fees, and other things, electricity, water, and whatever bigger items that need to be bought at home. At the same time, it still has to feed the family. Now, assuming that the breadwinner has a job, even assuming both people have a job and it pays 10,000, for a family of 4, it's still not a lot. Therefore, they are on a very tight budget. Unless you're offering a business that serves basic needs, it's not going to survive for long. Also, even the ones that offer basic needs, some of the things that always arise in the small scale businesses, especially the market stalls like mama burgers, one of the issues they have is if you sell things like tomatoes, you don't have the retail sector, you don't have like some worth 5 bob, 10 bob, people will tend to think of you as being expensive compared to other mama burgers. So they will tend to drift to other market stalls that offer lower prices for more goods. So if you don't have a supplier who is giving you at a wholesale price, you might end up being in trouble. But the main thing is that as long as people have low incomes on a large scale, they don't have to spend a lot because they have to pay for their basic needs. Therefore, luxury things like fancy clothes, you know, women doing their hair every 2 to 3 weeks or on a regular basis, doing nails, men buying suits, buying shoes, those become secondary needs because people first have to eat. And even if someone is going to spend money on the extra secondary needs, they will spend it at an affordable price, meaning someone would rather go buy second-hand clothes than buy one dress for the same price. Okay, someone would rather spend 1,000 on a few second-hand clothes than buy one dress for 1,000 because of the income constraint. Now, another way the casual in an informal sector ties into the economy of Nakuru is the lack of access to credit. So, if you have 10,000, and I'm pretty sure this is something a lot of Kenyans have experienced. If you have an income of 10,000 and you go to a circle and you're asking them for money, they won't lend you a lot of money. Meaning they won't lend you a lot of money to have a lot of capital to start something huge. And because a lot of people are not getting lent a lot of money, there's no extra money circulating. So let me give you an example with a bigger scale. So let's assume that people are being paid 35,000, okay? 100,000 people. Out of that 100,000 people, 10 people go and get a loan of around 100,000. So each of the 10 people get a loan of 100,000, which is like basically a million. If that ecosystem of 100 people getting paid 35,000 gets an injection of credit of 1 million, it is recirculated there to suppliers and vendors. People get some extra money along the way. So normally when someone takes a loan, they will go and buy stock from another person. Then that person will pay a supplier, they will pay someone else. So there's money moving. But the salary constraint makes it hard for other people to get loans, which does not create that extra injection of funds into the economy. Then the other factor is the way the town is not exactly interconnected. So if you look at the game parks and resorts, they are always around the lake, but it's not in the area that people live or close to the area that people live, okay? So I will explain this with an example of Karura Forest. If you get on a bus to go to Karura Forest and you decide you're going to enter through the gate at the CID, first of all, there's a thriving business there because of the people going to the CID. And the example is if you don't have money and you have to spend affordably, you can go there. When you get to the gate, you can eat like smocha before you get inside the Karura Forest. You pay the money for the national park. You walk through the park. You go to the other side. The other side, you'll probably be on that road that goes to Village Market. You can decide you're going to go in that direction of Village Market. Right before Village Market, there's a small shopping center where you can take some affordable tea before you go into Village Market and go and do a little window shopping and see how it is. Now in Nakuru, when you have to go to a game park or a resort, it's offside. Most of them are offside. You have either to take a boda if you don't have private means to go there. Now the disconnect between where people live, the distance between where people live and where the tourism attractions are always leaves a loop in the economy because people would have been benefiting from being guides there as a part-time thing. They would have been benefiting from just selling locally, like the way hawkers sell the Kenya bracelets, the jewelry at an affordable price. If the game parks were in a position or the hotels were somewhere on the way where regular folk live, it would be very easy for people to do a side hustle where they sell those beautiful jewelry to the tourists. But because they're offside, there's that gap. The people who sell them at a very high price because not everybody can gain access to that place. It's not something that you can go to work and then after you get out your flower farm, you take out your beads out of your backpack and then start selling at the gate. No, it's somewhere you have to travel. There's some logistics and stuff. The same happens to like the dairy farms. I'm not quite sure if, but I think there's a way that small scale farmers are kind of phased out, and I will compare this to tea factories. If you look at areas where they farm tea, even the small scale farmers benefit from farming the tea because you can take your tea as long as it meets the quality to your nearest factory. But with the Nakuru sector, it feels like the agriculture is specific to large scale. So, despite the weather being conducive for a lot of agricultural business, the small scale farmers do not have a conclusive way of selling their produce for a higher price. So, in the long run, this affects the circulation of the money. But one of the biggest factors is the low income, basically because of the big factories. If those factories could pay better, there would probably be better circulation. In fact, if there would be a microcredit that would help people get credit, it would increase the circulation of money in the county. But if you're starting a small scale business in Nakuru, I would advise that you don't start something that requires, like it's a basic need, like the day-to-day basis things. It's going to be hard if you're not getting them at a very good wholesale price. I'll also recommend that you don't do the luxury items because we've already established that there's very little extra disposable income. Most of the income is used to ensure that the people and the family can thrive. Therefore, there won't be much left to spend on other things. But if you could tap into the tourism sector, for example, the Airbnb sector in Nakuru works really well, especially if you have good marketing and you have good quality things, you can tap into that industry. If you're a farmer, you have to scale up to meet to the standards of the big farms, or you can look for an exporter who will accept your quality product. But overall, this is one of the things that has made Nakuru a slow town, a slow growing town. Despite the fact that it is in a very strategic position, it has one of the biggest highways in this country passing through the county. It has a lot of tourism attraction. It is the Las Vegas of Kenya. It has a lot of parties, but for small scale businesses, it is not that conducive. I will do a list of the businesses that thrive in Nakuru, and I will also do a series on which places small scale businesses thrive in and the ones that are going to be profitable in 2026. If you like this video, you find this breakdown useful, reasonable, and it helps you make a good informed decision on where to scale your business at, like this video, subscribe or comment below. I will appreciate. Thank you very much.